The New Year's Day Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas brought the topic of PTSD back to the forefront. We're going to be taking a look at this important issue from the perspective of civilians, members of the military, and first responders.
First responders are still human, and the scenes they see can have a lasting effect on them, sometimes PTSD. Right now, we are joined by Matt Cross, the Buffalo Police Wellness Coordinator. Matt, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a really important conversation to have. Buffalo Police Department especially has had a tough couple years or so. So paint the picture for us. What are some of the things you've been seeing in the department?
We've certainly had a lot of loss in general as a city, as a whole. We've lost multiple officers, we've lost fire personnel, we've lost many civilians in the unfortunate TOPS incident. From a first responder standpoint, the abnormal is our normal, unfortunately. So we see things a person shouldn't see consistently, regularly, and if it's not dealt with on an individual basis, as a group, also, these things start to pile up, and later down your career, sometimes it takes people down to a very dark place. So the goal is to be proactive with things, to get ahead of the game, so to speak, and to deal with stuff when you are struggling as soon as it starts.
I imagine one, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I imagine one of the toughest parts of your job, particularly within an atmosphere like a police department, getting people to maybe talk or admit that they're affected by a horrible situation or trauma or something like that. How is that for you or maybe other members of your staff, and how are you able to get through to people? Traditionally,
it's extremely difficult. There's a stigma associated with reaching out for help. I know this has been a topic that we've been dealing with for many years. I believe that we're turning a corner. We are having more participation in the avenues that we provide, and we work towards every year to try to provide more. We like to call it more branches on the tree to grab when you're falling.
Nice.
So we're turning a corner, and people are starting to see that you can't deal with this alone. And you can't deal with it at a bar, and you can't deal with it by not speaking out to your family and friends. So we are really, there's some positive things on the horizon.
BPD, especially recently, has really amped up making sure the mental health support is there to all law enforcement officers. Why is that so crucial?
It's everything. It's everything because having support from our administration, from our union, from our amazing mayor and his team in the city, it makes you feel like we're not doing this alone, and we have the resources coming to us. We just have to ask for them. There's not been a point in time where we have requested something that would be beneficial to our officers as far as mental health goes that I can recall being absolutely no, we can't afford it, we can't do this. It's how do we get there, and how can we provide that? So I'm very encouraged to continue to work with all those people I just named, as well as all of our officers who are also, I have to say, just so proud of them for doing the things that they need to do and reaching out. It's really been, it's been a pleasure to watch and a pleasure to try to help.
So important to have those resources available, and good to hear that BPD and others do. I'm curious if there are maybe families or friends or other first responders or whomever watching right now, and they may be curious about PTSD and symptoms, and or if someone is struggling with something. What are some things that people should be aware of or alert for if they have friends or family within the services?
Any kind of immediate change. If somebody's usually telling jokes and they've been very quiet recently, or they're starting to gain weight when they're usually a very fit person, or the other way around, they're drastically losing weight, and you know that they're pretty healthy, it's just stress related, in your opinion. If they're not acting normal, in your opinion, as your family or your close friends, it's time to ask some questions, poke around a little bit.
How do you do that effectively? Because you have to be really, I mean, this is your job, so you have to be delicate with that, right?
You do. People respond different ways, right? So some people don't want to be talked to, want to keep everything close to the vest, we like to call it, unfortunately. But the answer will always be no if you never ask. So ask, how are you? What's going on? I'm seeing some things here that I'm not super comfortable with. I'm here for you. I want to let you know that we'll do whatever it takes to get you where you have to be, but I need your help too. I mean, the simple conversations. It can be, you know, we have partners that ride in cars together. What's up, man?
Yeah.
What's going on? You're not saying much this week. It's the simple starters. And some people get like word salad and they just go on forever. Let them go.
Yeah.
Let them talk. Let's figure it out.
Figure it out together. Really well put. Matt, thank you so much for coming on. Like we said, this is really important to talk about, so thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.